Hello, everyone. Here today, we're going to talk about something that I've been experiencing a lot lately, and that all of us do all the time. Um, Something we're all incredibly passionate about, which is how to deal with obstacles, how to bring them to the path of our life so that they can be constructive and a part of our life. In a way, how to compost our obstacles. So, from a Buddhist point of view, this is what's taught. So it may sound like a little new agey, but it's tough work. So basically, if we have a rough day, if we have a rough argument in a relationship with our friend or our loved one or a family member, if things don't go our way, if the rug gets pulled out from under our livelihood, if someone we're in love with leaves us, if our dog does something we don't like, whatever it is in our life, obstacles, they come up all the time. They're a part of our, really are the fabric of our everyday lives. So basically, generally, we want to get rid of them. We want to solve them. We want to fix them. We don't want to deal with them. So there's a lot of sort of new agey advice about affirmations, trying to almost get to a higher plane, get away. But really, from a Buddhist point of view, it's very simple. Obstacles are kind of an opportunity in that when we get defeated, we're finally at a place where our ego, our kind of, our OCD, somewhat anal idea of how our life should go gets defeated. Trungpa Rinpoche called this losing heart. So losing heart, he actually saw as a good thing. When we lose heart, ironically, we feel our heart. We feel sadness. We feel defeat. And we can do two things. One is we can kind of pity ourselves and give into kind of everyday depression. Or we can kind of pretend we're not feeling it, suppress it, and try and be happy. Go out drinking, ignore it, whatever. Either extreme isn't that helpful. If we can actually stay with that sense of that, as it said in Dharma, the samsaric, or the scheme of life, is futile and impermanent. If we can stay with that, then that softness is empathy. And as anyone who has studied empathy even lightly knows, it's a powerful and transformative emotion. And it's more than an emotion. It's the basic expression of our fundamental goodness. So if we can stay with that empathy, my defeat can connect with your defeat. And it's not just a big depression party. It's kind of tenderness. It's where love comes from. So we lose heart in trying to make samsara, the everyday confusion of life, work. And instead of trying to tough it out, we soften, or we stay with that softness. Ups and downs, disappointments, loss, stresses, relationships. We all lose and win all the time. Winning is part of the problem too. Winning is when we think everything's great, and we can get arrogant. We can get full of ourselves. We can kind of trump our way through our lives. So either way, we can all relate to victories and defeats. And we're all desperate to learn how to handle disappointments, frustrations, and obstacles. So the number one tip is no longer to regard them as threats. One of the first things we can do is we can synchronize our mind and body. Often when we're defeated, we tend to ignore our body. We try and, eat our way into some pleasure. We don't exercise. Great thing, just get your phone away, go for a hike, go exercise, breathe, yoga, reconnect with breath. When our mind and body are synchronized, we can handle stress, we can handle defeat, we can handle victory, we can handle anything, because we're just right there. And when you're right there, it's actually a pretty profound place to be, because you're right where Buddhists would say the nature of reality is both empty, it is lacking in solidity, but it's also luminous. It's actually got wonderful power and auspiciousness to it. So if we can rest in presence, we are basically enlightened, even though we're not enlightened at all, clearly. But being present, one Buddhist teacher of mine said that enlightenment was stopping when you see a red light in your car or in your bike. So it's as simple as just recognizing reality and responding appropriately to it. So if the basic trick, as in the title of this video, is if we can transform our ego's view of obstacles as bad, stick with our heart's natural soft openness, and begin to practice or train our minds and hearts to regard obstacles as an opportunity for learning. Like, there's always a message in that defeat. Maybe we're off, we have to adjust. It's an opportunity for service and even for joy. So if our mission, if our goal is service, not victory, then it's no longer about ego. It's no longer about up and down. It's about how can I be of benefit? And when you want to truly be of benefit to others, which includes oneself, others want to help you. And again, that softness and their softness will connect and people will reach out and help. So without going for too long, when we no longer regard obstacles as threats and we listen to them, we stay with that softness, there's no longer any reason for aggression or depression. We have nothing to defeat and try and get away, and we have nothing to take too seriously. Again, I'm not talking about clinical depression. I'm talking about just that feeling of solid defeat or sadness. Tender sadness is wonderful. It's not solid. So, as Lincoln said, I guess we could end with Lincoln's quote, "I defeat my enemies when I make him my friend." There's this transformative quality to obstacles when we no longer try and push them away. We welcome them in. We say, come on and make yourself comfortable. Can I get you tea? The obstacles no longer hold any sense of threat or power over us. In Buddhism, this is going to be counterintuitive for most of you, but we recite this sort of chant or aphorism, gain and victory to others, loss and defeat to myself. Now, this isn't self-flagellating. This isn't, oh, I should lose, I should be defeated all the time. Everyone should have everything good. It's more just saying, I'm happy for that person. And if I've had loss and defeat, great, I can handle it. You know why I can handle it? Because it's just manure, it's just compost for my garden. We're no longer attached to victory, and we're no longer afraid of defeat. Finally, if we can practice synchronizing our mind and body, then we can also surmount the fundamental obstacle of laziness. Laziness in Buddhism is particularly powerful because it can take the form of busyness. It's not just lying around eating nachos and watching Netflix. It's also can be sort of ADHD, being on your phone when you don't need to. And laziness is such a threat because it takes away our sense of exertion and joy for the benefit of all. So what do we do with that obstacle of laziness? We transform it by not trying to push it away, but just by kind of looking at it and feeling it just like any other obstacle and saying, okay, I'm tired. Maybe I need to take care of myself, or maybe I'm busy and harried. Maybe I need to slow down. So basically just listen, and that's it. Good luck. And in comments, let me know how you're doing.